there's an adaptation of something that people love in current day Hollywood, you can almost guarantee that it's going to be infested with woke nonsense. You can almost guarantee that they're going to take one or several pre-established characters and change them for identity politics, virtue signal with them, whether it's a race swap, a gender swap, a sexuality swap, do something completely empty and meaningless in order to satisfy the woke crowd. But when the original creators involved in the casting decisions, in the story decisions, all these things, you would think that maybe you'd be safe from that. But in the case of Rick Riordan, that is absolutely not the case with the Percy Jackson show. Disney breaks their Percy Jackson promise, race swaps Grover and Annabeth. And even if you are a fan of the Percy Jackson series, you probably have no idea who these three people are because they don't resemble the people that would be in the Percy Jackson series. It doesn't look like Annabeth, Grover, and Percy. But this is what we've come to expect from Disney, whether it's a movie, whether it's a TV series, whatever. This is Disney at this point. But the reason I said I thought that the creator, Rick Riordan, might have a problem with it is because he was so outspoken about how much he hated the fact that when Disney made the movies without his consultation, right, just because he gave them the rights, when they made those movies, they tore it apart. It was like putting it through a meat grinder because they destroyed what he put down on paper. So you would think he would care about something like how accurate the characters are. But no, apparently that's not the case. Because if you've read Rick Riordan after the Percy Jackson series, after he wrote a 5-book series that got very popular that had essentially no identity politics, after that point, he very slowly and subtly started sliding things in there, and it's because that's who Rick Riordan is. He's extremely woke and obsessed with identity politics, and if you don't believe that, all you have to do is go through his thread a little bit, see some of the things that he's commented on, and that'll tell you everything you need to know. Unfortunately, he has done the same thing with the characters he's already created. Yeah, fine, no problem. Let's race swap them. Good to go, because that is current day Hollywood, that's entertainment, and he is totally fine with race swapping one of his characters for the sake of identity politics. The Walt Disney Company continued to show their true colors as they broke another one of their promises with the race swapping of Annabeth Chase and Grover Underwood for the upcoming Disney Plus series. Now, when it comes to Grover, now this is, and before I even get into this, for the actors and actresses involved, I have nothing against them. I'm not even going to talk about them in this. This is simply about the casting decisions and the decisions made by Rick Riordan and Disney to go ahead and race swap these characters that do have a big fan base. When it comes to Grover, I don't believe, and they even go through this, in the description, it never really gives a skin tone or anything like that to Grover, although all of the illustrations did show Grover as white. That is a fact. You can't deny that when you look at all the supplementary material. That has now changed. They found a different person to play Grover. But to be honest, the Annabeth casting is extremely off the mark because there are several descriptions of exactly what Annabeth looks like, down to her skin tone and her hair color. But no, that's not gonna work in this case because we need to make it good for current day Hollywood, and I'm Rick Riordan, and I'm such a woke loser, I will very happily race swap these characters and show just how woke I am. While the description does not mention his race or skin color, an official graphic novel adaptation, the first novel, published by Disney's Hyperion Books, depicts him as white, talking about Grover. This isn't the first time Grover's been race swapped. In the live action one in 2010, it's saw him portrayed by Brandon T. Jackson. However, this is the first time they race swapped Annabeth Chase. Riordan describes Annabeth in the book. The last thing I remember is collapsing on a wooden porch, looming up at the ceiling fan above me, moths flying around a yellow light, and stern faces of a familiar-looking bearded man and a pretty girl, her blonde hair curled like a princess's. They both looked down at the time, and the girl said, "He's the one, he must be." Later in the novel, Riordan wrote, "She was probably my age, maybe a couple of inches taller, and a whole lot more athletic looking. With her deep tan and curly blonde hair, she was almost exactly what I thought a stereotypical California girl would look like, except her eyes. They were startlingly gray." I will say this, it seems like they're going for a much deeper tan than Rick Riordan described in his books. And the whole thing is, Rick Riordan's behind this. He is completely saying, this is exactly what I thought these characters would look like. Listen to this. Author Rick Riordan fully endorses the race swaps. Discussing the casting on his website, he wrote, "In his auditions for Grover, Arian, I don't know if his name's Arian or not, won our hearts. He had me laughing out loud with his delivery and timing. Grover has some big flying shoes to fill, but he's exactly the right guy for it. He and Walker already have a great dynamic together. But then when it comes to Annabeth, out of all the talented actors we looked for the role, Leah Sava Jeffries quickly became my #1 choice for Annabeth. She's exactly the way I imagine Annabeth in the books. Smart, strong, and courageous, a true daughter of Athena. I saw Annabeth Chase come to life. The wise girl has arrived. Obviously, this is not how you describe these characters in the books. Maybe some personality traits for sure, but definitely not the way that they appeared. And you were very clear to list how they appeared. A typical California girl, blonde hair, white skin with a deep tan. That's what you're saying in your books. No, it doesn't matter. And I really liked the Percy Jackson series when it came out. I did. I think the first one came out in 2005. It was a little younger than me. I was not necessarily the target audience. I would have been about 16. And these books were probably geared for around, like to 12, 13-year-olds. But I really got into the world that he created. I thought it was interesting. I thought it was fun. I hated the movies when they came out because they didn't stick to the books. And the fact that Rick Riordan was supposed to be involved with this, I thought that maybe he'd do the right thing. But I should have known that the woke mind virus will infest everybody, and it infested Rick Riordan. He wrote a series that, in my opinion, was basically completely free of any identity politics in the Percy Jackson series. In subsequent series, what he did do, even though these are geared for teens effectively, he started introducing characters struggling with coming out with their sexuality. He started introducing transgender characters, got into gender ideology and things like that. That's just what happened as he became more popular and was able to slip these things in with it already having mainstream appeal. But I guess the final story is that this Percy Jackson series, if you thought that maybe it was going to stick to the books even with the author being involved, unfortunately, we were mistaken. Let me know what you think about this in the comments below. Smash a like button, subscribe to the channel, ring the bell for notifications, share this video out there, and I'll talk to you later.
Thanks for watching, everyone, and a huge shout out to my patrons. I appreciate you guys so much. Want to follow me on Twitter or Instagram? Check out the description below. You'll find links to my P.O. box and my Patreon as well. And I'll talk to you guys later.